All right, guys, a lot of you have been asking me for a very long time to take a look at this guy and do a review. This is the Southord E500C. It's the newer model of a electric pick that I've been using for probably more than 10 years. This is mine. I know it's all beat up, and this is his big brother. This is the E500XT. It was the first model, and it's had 10 years. This thing's gone around the world with me several times and got hundreds of hours. I've never had a lick of problem with it. So the mechanism on these is well designed and really durable. The advantage of this guy, this is a little bit newer design, is that it only uses 2 C cells as opposed to 3. There you go. And in fact, these actually come with it. So the first set come with the pick. And if you run it out, and you'd have to ride this thing into the sunset to dry these things out. I would say more than an hour of constant electropicking to dry out these 2 C cells. But since they're commonly available C cells, you could replace them very, very easily or carry some extra ones in your bag. It's a very simple and durable design. There's only 2 controls on this thing. The first one is here, and this is the tensioner that limits the range of the needle, how much it can flop up and down. So the way I usually start it, I screw it all the way in, or if somebody's been monkeying with it and I really don't know, I'll screw it all the way down and then do 4 complete rotations to set it right in the middle of the range, and that's a good starting point. The amount that you'll have to adjust it from there depends on the keyway. If you have a very tight keyway like a Schlage, you might want to tighten it down a turn. If you've got a very wide opening like a quick set where there's plenty of room for that needle to plunge up and down, you can actually loosen up about 2 more revolutions to widen that swing. The only other control is the go button located right here. There's not a whole lot to this. This thing is ready to go, so hold your ears. That's all there is to it, guys. I mean, there's nothing else to adjust on this thing other than that tensioner. What else do we get in the kit? Well, you get a total of 4 of these hardened steel needles and a wrench and a leather pouch to put everything inside of. A little zippered pouch so we don't lose anything. And the other thing you get are 4 different tension wrenches. You get 2 twisted, 2 not twisted. You get a wide one and a medium one of each twisted and non-twisted. Again, they fit right in that pouch, and you've really got to be determined to lose those things. All right, let's get back to this. You guys have seen me use these before. You know exactly how they work. And let's go over the principle very quickly because I'm going to try to give you a slightly different view here today. Think of this as an electric bump key. So when we have a bump key, we're going to slide it into the keyway. We're going to pull it out 1 notch so that the leading angle on those little peaks are up against the pins, and then we're going to strike it with something. When we strike it, that energy from the key will be transferred to the key pins, which transfer them directly to the driver pins, which then ricochet up into the lock against those springs. And when they ricochet up, it's going to create a temporary air gap before those springs then push those pins back down against the key pins and close that gap. It's that moment when we have the air gap at the shear line that allows us to turn the key. So we got a bump key, pull it out, strike it. We might be able to do this, 4 or 5 times a minute. I mean, it takes time to align everything, pick up your hammer, hit it. So time consuming. We've come up with a quicker way, and that's these guys. You take some rubber washers, you stick the right number of them on there. So that way, when you slide it in there, it's already pre-cocked, ready to go. You strike it, and then that rubber bumper pushes it back automatically, and you just keep hitting it. Well, when you got a rubber bumper on there, you might be able to strike this thing 30 or 40 times. So 30 or 40 times a minute, you're going to have that little air gap. Well, this works exactly the same way, except now things are measured not in minutes, but in seconds. How many times will this needle fluctuate up and down that range every second and create that air gap? We're going to tremendously improve our odds of getting into that lock. Today I'm going to do an experiment, and here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to take a high-speed camera, I'm going to hold a white card behind it, and I'm going to give it a pulse, just like this. Just like when we use these, we don't stick them in and mash the button and just hang on for dear life until something happens. You give it little pulses. And that allows you to vary that frequency, and it greatly increases your chances of getting it open. I'm going to do 1 of those pulses in front of this card, just like that, at 1,000 frames per second, so that portion of a second burst, we're going to get about 20 or 30 seconds of video, and that'll allow us to see about how many times per second we're creating an air gap. All right, that was pretty awesome. Pretty impressive. I had no idea how many oscillations we were getting in a fraction of a second, but that high-speed camera makes it pretty clear, but that doesn't give us the real answer. What I really want to know is how does it affect the lock? Again, I'm going to take this guy. This is a brand new Sparrows cutaway. There's what your bidding looks like. Doesn't really matter. We're not going to try to open it. I'm really just going to show you, again, using the high-speed camera, I'm going to take the needle, I'm going to slide it in, and I'm going to give it a single pulse. And you're going to see how many times that energy is transferred to those driver pins. But more importantly, you're going to be able to see that air gap that's being created. Well, 1,000 frames per second really slows this down enough for us to see the pure randomness of what's going on inside of that lock. Not all those pins are being struck at the same time, and the pins are recoiling at different speeds, probably because those heavy pins are recoiling slower because of their mass, and those little short pins are light and they're recoiling a lot faster. This really is chaos at work, but, you know, it does work out in our favor. All right, guys, I think now you can understand why electropicks are so incredibly effective when you use them correctly. Pulse it and adjust the throw of the needle based on the keyway, and you're going to get a very quick open. These things are just amazing. I wouldn't leave home without mine, I will say that. This is the Southord E500C, $149.95 from Southord.com. All right, guys, I have one. I have a 10-year-old one, and I'm perfectly happy with it, so I'm going to give this guy away. If you'd like to have it, that is the website. Go there in the middle of the page. There's a big purple button. Click it, register, and with a little bit of luck, my webmaster will pull your name next Saturday. Good luck, guys. Thanks for your time. Stay safe. Stay legal. Hold on, before you leave, click that subscribe button. And while you're there, click that notification bell as well. If you'd like to be a sponsor, click there, and for $5 a month, you get all kinds of benefits. If that's not enough free stuff, hit the Lock Lab. We've got a self-paced lockpicking course with over a dozen modules at the bottom of the page. Join the tribe. Subscribe.